Welcome to South African Schoolboy Rugby Report, the home of South African Schoolboy Rugby. Here are three players to watch this weekend. First up, we've got Jaco De Villiers, number 8 from Oakdale. Jaco is one of the most talked about players in South Africa at the moment. He's red hot property according to many rugby analysts. He's a big, explosive ball carrier, very athletic, and has a very good offloading game. And is again a very strong contender for the SA Schools number 8 jumper. If you haven't seen him play, you can watch this video by A Day in Sports. They've got a highlight reel of him playing for Oakdale and then also for SWD in the Craven Week. And I think it'll only take a few seconds for you to realize that this boy has some serious talent. So he's the first guy that I will keep my eye on this weekend. Second of all, I've got Niel Du Randt. The reason I chose Niel is because he is going to be he's going to be in direct opposition to Jaco De Villiers. He's a highly rated prospect. He represented Free State at the Grand Como in 2025. I believe he was captain, if I'm not mistaken. And he's already mentioned as a player to watch for the future and a very strong SA Schools candidate. So I think the matchup between him and Jaco will be very, very interesting. And then also, he's a very powerful runner, as I mentioned previously. And then what's also interesting is you can see him standing next to a chap called Rousseau van der Wal. This was posted on the Grey College Instagram page. And the interesting thing is that Rousseau van der Wal is actually a tight head prop. So if you look at the two boys side by side, Niel doesn't really look much smaller than the tight head, so he could be quite destructive, I guess, when he gets going. And also, according to my research, him and Jaco, they both tipped the scales at approximately 104 kilograms. So it should be a very, very interesting matchup between them indeed. Then next up, we've got Ethan from Biljon from Stellenberg. This post was made by, it looks like MB5 Plug Sports on Instagram 2 years ago already, and he was already giving him rave reviews. So Ethan is a very exciting young number 10 coming through the Western Province system. He has already represented South African A school side, and he has very good game management skills. He reads the game exceptionally well. He's got strong tactical awareness, controls the tempo, and his distribution is really exemplary. The Western Province school ranks, they're blessed with very talented fly-offs, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can again capture that SA Schools colours this year. He's got strong competitions by the likes of Louis Kuhn, and then also Travis Pfeiffer from Paarl Gim, so it'll be good to see how Ethan goes this weekend. And then I was also told that Ethan is actually also a very good 200 and 400 meter athlete, which could explain why he was picked at fullback for a few games during the Craven Week last year. I couldn't understand why he was playing there, since he plays most of his rugby at fly-off for his school. But I guess if you add the athletics to the rugby brain and acumen, it makes sense that why they would want him out in the back. Right, so then I must also say an honorable mention to Jovan Burden. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, he was touted as probably arguably the best under-17 player in the country last year, but I think these three guys should give us plenty of things to talk about when we do our next video next week. Okay, so guys, these are the three players to keep your eyes out on this weekend. Hope they deliver, and should be good to watch them go. Now, just quickly a final comments I want to make on two matches that I talked about yesterday. First up, I talked about Paarl Gim and Drosday, and one interesting fact that I realized today when I looked at the coaches and the team sheets was that two former Cheetahs are actually going to be coaching against each other. Corné Ace, who played centre for the Cheetahs, and then also Toby Bottas, who played a few Super Rugby games for the Cheetahs. I can't remember if they played with each other at the same time, but they both played for the Cheetahs. They will be going head to head against each other in the coaching department. And then one thing, many people have been touting Drosday to possibly cause an upset, and I thought that could have been slightly absurd. And then when I did a little bit more research on the matter, I actually found that in the Boland Grand Como under 16 side last year, 15 out of the 23 players came from Drosday. So when I read that, I actually got excited, and I was like, okay, maybe the people are onto something here. And I was actually waiting to see the team sheet for Drosday. But when I looked at the team sheet this morning, only about 4 or 5 of those Grand Como players is actually picked to do battle with Paarl Gim at the Mark Otter tomorrow. I guess Toby Bottas former Italian international, like I said, Cheetahs player, maybe decided to mix a little bit of youth and experience there. It's not easy to beat Paarl Gim, and you obviously do need some experienced cattle to do so, but I was just a bit surprised that maybe there weren't more provincial representatives in that Droste side. I gave my reasons yesterday why I think Droste is a very talented side, good side, but why they will probably struggle against Paarl Gim tomorrow. Paarl Gim have 9 returning players. That's also something I found out today, and it'll be interesting to see how the halfback pairing of Jaden Powell and Travis Pfeiffer go up against two youngsters who also played in the Grand Kamu last year. Jaco De Villiers and Ruan Nukia. They were the halfback pairing for the Boland under 16 side, so it should be interesting to see how they go against the more experienced Jaden Powell and Travis Pfeiffer. Then, just for those of you who don't know, Tubi Buerta, so I've already mentioned that he played for the Cheetahs and he played for the Italian national team, 22 games in fact. One thing that he's also famous for is his interaction with referee Nigel Owens, who told him once, after he was mouthing off a bit too much, told him this is not soccer. So just caution then to the referee tomorrow. Tubi Buertas might be in your ear, so just be ready and just remind him that it's not soccer if he gets going. Lastly, I just want to quickly also mention the Outeniqua-Nico Malan game again. Did some research, and again, I mentioned yesterday how I was very impressed how much Nico Malan has improved over the last few years under the leadership of Jaco Nepgen, their head coach. But when I also looked at the SWD under 16 side from last year, I realized that 13 out of the 23 were all from Outeniqua. And if Outeniqua loads their team with these Grand Como players, Nico Malan could be in for a very long afternoon, because according to my records, Nico Malan only has about 3 or 4 provincial representatives in their run-on side, whereas Outeniqua could boast up to 15 players who have provincial experience. However, as we all know, games are not won on paper, they're won on the field, so it should be interesting how the game plays out. And my prediction for this match is that Nico Malan will be ever improving, and they will give Outeniqua a run for their money. Eventually, I think Outeniqua will get away with it. They will get away with the win, but I think it'll be a pretty close game, and maybe a 15 to 20 point victory for Outeniqua. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching the SA Schoolboy Rugby Report. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more SA Schoolboy Rugby content. Thank you.